we would need a real commitment from them to cover everything necessary to avoid the school operating in the red. So I'm framing that around what my colleagues and I've communicated about in terms of this. So it just might be some other language to include or think about. Because this is a, it's an ongoing and compounding situation if you don't.
We're back.
Yeah, and that goes to the point I was making earlier about amending the contract to manage your expectations on the projection, right? So I think in all of this, before next November, if all this goes the way it should, the school needs to consider really how they should manage that, so they're not compounding that year after year.
And even still, we've had a couple of schools that did reduce that and still have not met their target. So they're still impacted.
Sure.
So going back to the importance of enrollment and attendance.
So I think we might be ready for a motion here.
Please.
I've been lost in the copy.
All right.
Longest board meeting ever. It wins.
It's okay. I'm gonna ask for one. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna try to put together all these words into it so then to vote on it and then discuss it in case we need to refine it. So, I have to get my thoughts together to do that. So the revocation review process is still, it's open until it's closed. Okay, so we don't have to vote on continuing it or anything. Okay. All right, so I will entertain a motion to require SR1 CPSA by April, our next board meeting is April 7th, so 8th, okay. And they're
Jordan's checking.
okay.
Because we get that information out to y'all prior to the actual.
Right,
date.
so the 3rd. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So you already have 2 in the form, so 36 shouldn't be a heavy lift. Okay. So
What day is it? Each week before the.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
So it's 3 business days after Easter.
We generally get all the information so that she can put together a board packet. Then we have to post the information.
and they said they have 200 already, so it should just be pick up 36 that you think are going to come, I think. So, all right. So by April 3rd, to submit to the Mississippi Charter School Authorizer Board, 36 additional signed letters of commitment providing evidence that parents or guardians intend to enroll their eligible child or children at SR1 CPSA for school year 24-25. These letters should include information that provide the eligibility of each child by including the student's home address, home school district, age, and grade level. Bank statements from July 1st, 2023 to March 30th, 2024.
So at least February. Her point is it may not be quite enough time to get March.
Okay. All right. So bank statements from July 1st, 2023 through February 29th, 2024. Any letters of support from donors willing to pledge funds that include a specified dollar amount and a specified time by which pledged funds will be donated. And this part was like, an updated budget for the 24-25 school year, a detailed budget that includes details about expenditures and sources of revenue. And a template will be provided or not? Or
They have
They
a
have one.
template
Okay.
that they can use for their budget template.
Okay. So detail is the key. And I think that's think have I missed anything? Okay. Okay, so who would like to make that motion?
I'm glad to make it, I'm not sure I can repeat it.
Okay, just say so moved.
So moved, yeah.
Okay, all right, and is there a second?
We will get this, we will get this in writing, in a letter for you.
Yes. Okay. It's gonna be very similar to this letter that they
I know
already
what
got,
I'm
and then it's gonna have
saying,
additional
I
about
agree with everything you said.
the bank statements and the detailed budget. Okay, is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll say.
Okay, great, there we go. Any discussion? Discuss now? All right, all those in favor? Okay, any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your participation and patience as well. All right, so now we are moving on to consider SR1's contract amendment request, and this is for the pre-K. So again, we need a motion and discussion, and a second, and then we can discuss if needed. So is there a motion to approve the SR1's contract amendment request? And this is to operate the pre-K program, is that right? With those
It is.
funds?
There's a lot of children that sign up.
It is, yes, it is an amendment request to operate the pre-K program, in order for them to accept the pre-K funds. Okay, so I'm looking at Amy on that just to make sure I was correct. So it is, a request from the school, so that they will be eligible for the funding to operate a pre-K program outside of their charter.
For next year.
Yes, I believe that grant is a 3-year grant. It's
I
a
believe
State
so.
Department grant.
Yeah.
It's-
24, 25.
It actually started this year.
Startup
For
process.
SR1,
Yes, and for Midtown, both schools
Yeah.
were awarded that grant, and that was state invested pre-K money. And we had, pre-K is not, part of the funding formula, so we don't fully fund pre-K programs in Mississippi. It's outside of that. So we had to find a mechanism to allow the schools to be able to receive those dollars outside of the contracted terms, because they're not technically a program within our term. So Amy worked on that policy. It's passed APA with no comment. The file was final today. It is temporary. But yes, so that's what this would do. Then it would allow them to have access to those funds to operate a program independent of the charter.
I so moved, Candace Roberts.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I want to throw something out. Do we want to table or move this item to April when we can take up both at the same time? Again, it might make sense because that
makes sense,
that makes sense to you.
We approved that as a company. More.
Pre-K students next year.
I think it's limited, if I'm not mistaken. Their grant was written again to the Department of Education, but I think it's limited based on the number that they applied for.
I guess
So-
that was a bad question. So this
Oh,
is-
I got you.
I asked a bad question.
No,
So if we approve it, does it help them get the additional 36?
not
No.
for their program.
Not for next year.
No,
Yeah.
no.
In order to be eligible to receive these funds, the school has to be a school. So,
Yeah.
and so if,
Be a district.
or
Yeah,
they're considered school districts by
Right.
ND's definition. So if the school's charter is revoked, they're not eligible for these funds anymore. So,
Yeah.
so it kind of would make sense to kind of consider both
Yeah.
items together, maybe just
That makes sense.
not approve
Yeah.
it today, but take it up on that. Just,
Yeah.
that's, if we want to do that. So then we would, can we amend this? item, or do we have to just,
Motion to table.
motion to table? Okay,
We're gonna table one.
okay, so I got, all right, so is there a motion to, we discussed it, is there a motion to table? Am I doing it right? So, sounds like Sanders made a motion to table it, and is there a second to table it to April? Okay, so Marcy tabled it. Any discussion about tabling until April?
Are there any setbacks with tabling it for receiving the funding, I guess? Or they've already been granted, I guess you said.
They've been granted, it's a reimbursement basis, so they
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to access the funds until this is approved. So if they've already started purchasing things and they
Yeah.
need their reimbursement, they would have to wait until it's approved to get to be eligible for the reimbursement. And I think the last time they came to visit us, and that was a couple of months ago, they hadn't started spending,
hadn't
if I'm
started.
right, on the pre-K. But I don't know where it is now.
Yeah,
So
we were hoping to start in January, at this point, we
Yeah.
can approve this to start the process.
Okay.
we had to get a policy in place to allow it to happen first, and so there was that delay.
Okay, yeah, well, it doesn't seem like it takes much, so, yeah, it's fine, I'm okay.
Okay. All right, any other questions or discussion? Okay, so all those in favor of tabling till April 8th? Okay, any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, so now we're to considering approval of Midtown contract amendment request, and this is the same thing as with their pre-K grant that they got. So I will entertain a motion to approve Midtown's amendment request to start this or operate the pre-K or accept the NP funds for the pre-K.
I so moved Candace Robbins.
Is there a second?
I'll second Mercy's.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, now we're moving on to consider approval to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to file proposed amendments to Board Policy Title 10, Part 404, Chapter 1, Performance Framework. Dr. Is anything you want to say
I'm
about
just
this?
going to defer to Amy on this,
All right.
and we have worked diligently in reviewing our current performance framework to accommodate some of the feedback that we've received from school leaders. So I defer to her to report out on where we landed and the recommendations that are before you today for consideration.
Okay, well, considering we are 3 hours into this meeting, I will just go through it pretty quickly, and if you have questions, let me know. All right, so we included a 7-day window for schools to review their draft performance framework previously, and now we have changed that to a 15-day window in response to comments made by a school leader during this year's report. That just gives them more time to look through things. In response to the national teacher shortage and conversation with school leaders, we will no longer use the state report card for evidence of future licensure, and will instead use the licenses provided by the schools to calculate that total number ourselves. We will also, in that same vein, no longer consider whether a teacher's grade and subject area placement match their license, as this is not required in the statute. So that won't go, the effect is that more certified teachers will go toward that percentage that's required in the statute. To further align our framework with NACSA standards, we will remove the approaches, expectations, ratings from many indicators. You all can check that out if you want to know which ones.
And those are compliance indicators, so typically a yes or no. You do or you don't, and take out the approaches.
Exactly. And then to align with statutory requirements, we will change, this is basically just housekeeping. It was October 1st in there, and it should have been September 30th to align with the statute. Also to align with statutory requirements, we will add to the financial framework that the annual independent audit be completed by a firm approved by the state auditor, and only be completed by the same auditor for 3 consecutive years. And that's in data source measure 3A. We updated language regarding English learners, English language learners to English learners, because that has all changed.
Yeah.
And we also added the site visit report as a source for information where appropriate. We did make some changes for clarity to the intervention letter, also to match our current practices. Let's see, we sent the changes via email to the school leaders and received no responses back. We did that on February 12th. There's also, if y'all approve, that we filed this as proposed with the administrative bulletin. There will be a 25-day public comment period as is required under the APA statute, which will give anyone that amount of time to make written comments and let us know what they think.
All right, any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve this board policy with changes.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Candace Brown.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. All right, next item E is to consider approval of a budget modification. And I think, sure, yeah.
So what we, Dr. Comisher and I met, and there were some things that we noticed that we weren't gonna need, or that were put in the budget, and there were some things that were added. We added some CPAs, we added some legal, and what y'all have done in the past is you've given a $50,000 bucket for anything that happened. But we're getting very close to that bucket being used, and so we decided it was a good time, being 75% of the year, to look at the budget. We left the budget at the exact same dollar amount, we just moved it between the line items. And so everything stayed within the contractual line item, except for $5,000 that we moved down to commodities. And that was really to cover your new employees and furniture. Because furniture is considered a commodity, it's like a chair costs less than $1,000. So the budget is the same, it's just your categories. And so, and it's for you with how each of the categories changed. And I'm being succinct.
Okay. All right,
Thank you.
okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget modification.
I so moved, Candace Brown.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Marcia Snell.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right, now consider approval for a proposal to conduct new schools evaluation. I think you have a link to that.
The proposal,
Proposal,
and
okay.
yes, and then this would be what Candace referred to earlier in her committee report. So this is the proposal by the committee to conduct those evaluations this year of the new school applications.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve this proposal to conduct new school applications evaluation. Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll
Make the second? Okay, sorry.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. All right, next one is an information item. You received the final 22-23 annual performance framework report for Clarksdale Collegiate. Okay, information only. All right, another information only. Board policy Title 10, Part 429, Charter School Pre-Kindergarten Program cleared the administrative procedures process with no public comment and filed as final with an effective date of April 10th, 2024. Okay. Our next meeting, our next regularly scheduled meeting will be on April 8th, 2024, 1 p.m., 239 North Lamar Street, Suite 207, Jackson, Mississippi, 39201. Oh, and professional headshots will be taken for the website after the meeting, which you did before. Okay. All right.
I have a problem.
It's just always.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Right here.
All right, Candace,
I so
is
moved.
there a second? Marcy's a second? Okay, any discussion on adjournment? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, I think it's not all this long. It's not a long bathroom, I should have gotten I appreciated how that all worked out, so, it's actually tough.
So.
Yeah, yeah. And like, none of us want